you want to find out what does he actually want in a relationship, like, because then you know if you're in alignment or not. Because having that boundary and standard, you shouldn't have to be like, look, I'm going to babysit you now, and like this is what I have to draw this line here, and I'm all for boundaries. But at the same time, he should want to have the kind of relationship that those things don't happen in.
If a woman is genuinely happy in their relationship, she's not going to. Which doesn't mean that maybe the man's not happy about something, but he needs to also talk about it too. Like, I'm not saying the women can't, if she has that intuition, like, hey, something's off, and initiate that. But a man also can't be like, I'm pissed at her, and so I'm gonna go DM this girl, but I'm not gonna tell my wife I'm pissed at her.
Initially do.
I feel like as a woman, though, I don't think I would say that. I think I'd be like, this is unacceptable in the relationship that I want to have. Like, this cannot happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You know,
like, I mean, if I'm being honest, again, it's me and you, so it's a little bit different to compare it against. It would be hard. I mean, again, I think if you have kids, then it makes it a little bit more of a thing to stay together. But if it's full-blown emotional cheating, that would be a little hard to just be like, this is unacceptable, you know? Because here's, I guess, the problem I have.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like, well, men just don't know any better, or something like that. I'm not saying you're saying that.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Yeah,
but I'm saying that it's being treated more of like, they just don't know any better. Their ego's just being stroked, and they just don't know any better. They're just a boy. They're just a boy. Like, they don't know. And like, the thing is, though, you do know. You do know that you should not be messaging another woman that's not your wife deep down. Yeah. And I get that a lot of relationships don't follow the standards that we have, and they think that everything's fine, and I get that. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to, you know, put the women's side into perspective. Like, I get if it's minimal, being like, yeah, this can't happen again. Like, and her having boundaries and having standards and having to walk away potentially.
But that also, like, and I agree with that, but that doesn't fix the relationship rift issue that needs to be fixed. Because it's like, that's why I would say you want to find out what does he actually want in a relationship. Like, because then you know if you're in alignment or not. Because it's just like having that boundary and standard. You shouldn't have to babysit. You shouldn't have to be like, look, like, this is like, I'm going to babysit you now. And like, this is what I have to draw this line here. Like, I get it. Like, and I'm all for boundaries. But at the same time,
shouldn't you have figured that out before?
Well, yeah. And, but he should want to have the kind of relationship that those things don't happen in.
Right. Which I feel like that's the rare thing, right? Like,
but if he doesn't, then
we did a video long ago where I literally said, what woman wouldn't want her man to come up to her and be like, okay, we're not going to hang out with people of the opposite sex. We're going to have each other's locations. What woman wouldn't want that? But the thing is, besides you, what other man do you know that has come to a woman besides the ones that you've coached to do it and just outright said that?
Here's the thing, though, like, because, you know, if we go to the other side of this, right? Because, and I told you this when I was talking about one of the guys I was coaching, and I was like, if we looked at the woman's phone, we would find stuff. Like, we wouldn't find necessarily sexually explicit stuff, but again, a majority of women's phones, if you looked at their phones, it would be some guy that they're still talking to. Again, maybe not crossing the line into like sexual stuff, but confiding in emotionally. Like, maybe, you know, if a rapper or whatever DM them, they entertain that. They answered, right? They said something. Maybe they, like, even if you said, "Ooh, come, let me fly you out," whatever, and she's like, no, I'm married, whatever. Like, but just having the conversation before then, up to that point, like, there would be a lot of these little tiny, you know, kind of stepping over the lines as well. So that's the other thing.
I'm not saying that women are innocent, but I'm saying that I don't know if 95% of women would do I don't think what men are doing.
No, I think it's more, again, a man, like I said, go for the man's ego. Yeah. You're gonna get him, right?
Well, and I think too, like we've said, if a woman is genuinely happy in their relationship, she's not going to. Which doesn't mean that maybe the man's not happy about something.
Yeah.
But he needs to also talk about it too. Like, I'm not saying the women can't, if she has that intuition, like feeling, be like, hey, like something's off and initiate that. But a man also can't be like, I'm pissed at her. And so I'm going to go DM this girl, but I'm not going to tell my wife I'm pissed at her.
Right.
But she should just know. And then I'm going to do this to like show her how pissed I am.
But what kind of women are happy in their relationship?
One that they feel like the man is
right
understanding them and listening to them and communicating.
So what percentage of that is? So it's like, so probably a lot of women's phones have stuff on them they shouldn't have on them, right? Because like, let's be honest. So, but again, does it still fall onto the man? Yes, it does, right? It's like, but that's why. But again, I can't. The men are listening. I can tell those men, and I do tell them, and I tell them every week. Mm-hmm. But the women are listening. I can only tell you like what to watch out for, and to know that if there's not devotion, if he's not devoted to you, then you shouldn't
have married him if he's not devoted to you. And I'm not saying that can't wax and wane over time, but
you got to like, as a woman.
Some people never felt the devotion though, and they got married, and then the relationship has never really been great, and then it's so dysfunctional that maybe they don't care that their husband's responding, or they brush it off, or whatever. Exactly. There's so many different versions.
I think as a woman, you're the thermostat of the relationship. Like you know what temperature's at. Like he might be able to up and you can be like he can increase the temperature, lower the temperature, right? Like
but you can put it on hold.
but you know where it's at.
You can hold the temperature.
It's your job to know where it's at. It's his job to lead. It's your job to know where it's at and to be like, that's not good enough. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's what.
Even if he's not communicating with you,
to not be accepting of anything less than what you know that he is fully capable of a man as being, and what the relationship should be.
What if he's like, stop nagging me?
Well, not through nagging. Not through nagging. Well, nagging is not the way.
Sometimes men say that women are nagging, and they're really not nagging because they know what to say to get a woman to be upset.
But it's the matter, like, and you're reading in the whatchamacallit, the Queen Code and stuff, but it's the way that it's worded, in the sense that if you tell a man what you want, if you ask a man for help, if you tell him I need this or I want this, versus why don't you ever do this, or like why aren't you like this husband, or this guy on the Better Than Perfect podcast, he's always like his wife is always like, oh, I love you. Right. You know what I mean? But if you're approaching it in the right way, you're going to inspire him, because men want to conquer and to make a woman happy. Like, the most.
They want to provide.
Yeah, they want to do those things. So it's not, again, it's not a shit on men either, because like you just have to inspire men. But as a woman, you're that thermometer, you're the thermostat. You know where the relationship's at, and you have to be like, I don't accept this, like in the right way, but like I want better than this, right? The man should be striving for excellence, but you know where the temperature's at. And so you've got to be like, no. And again, it's the same thing. You're calling the man to be, what he's capable of as a man. And you do it in the right way. But, it's like.
How would you do that? Can you give an example?
I mean.
All right. You find out your husband's messaging women on the internet.
Like, what do you do? Like, how do you get him to be.
Yeah.
Like, after you've already found this out? I mean. It should
before, I guess, or whatever. Okay,
let's say before, because it should be a little bit more proactive. Like you can respond to the situation. But if you know that the temperature, you should say things like, tell him what are the things that you want, right?
Like
what would make you happy? What things do you desire, right? That you want from him, that he's useful, that he
like,
he gives
I want you to spend more time with me.
Yeah. Yeah,
or something.
But not more time. Like I want you to
spend quality time with me.
But be specific, because it feels.
That's what I'm asking you for an example.
Yeah, okay, because it feels like a nag if you're like, I want you to spend more time with me.
Okay, then give an example. That's better.
I mean that's still not horrible, right? But to say, I want to, Tuesday night, I want you to just to spend time with me, to just shower me in love on Tuesday night or whatever. Like that's more specific. That he's going to respond to.
Okay.
Right. But it can be like what it just depends on what you actually want, right? What do you want? What would make you feel loved? What would make you feel more feminine? What, ask for the things that you want.
Like, I want you to not DM random women that
not a negative.
That are in your messages.
Not a negative. But you could say that
I want you to value the relationship at such a level that you would not entertain anyone else.
But it's still like you have to like that's a byproduct.
I want us to not message other people.
I mean that's fine, but that's not deepening the relationship. That's like those are.
But I'm saying like if
boundaries.
you don't have the other parts in,
but the focus should be on deepening the relationship, not on. Like the boundaries,
but I'm talking
it's like
more
the
about
safety on the gun is like what we're talking about.
Putting those into place if they aren't already.
Yeah, sure. If they're not already, I mean, he should have been putting those into place. But if he's not, then you can say what your boundaries are. But it can almost go without being said, right? Like it's like because the focus shouldn't be on that. It should be on, if you see something like, and how do you call it? Like, well, I was going to say before is that there's many times, and we've talked about on this podcast before, where you have called me to be a better man, right?
I'm not thinking about it though.
No, not necessarily, but it's because you're true. Like that is a value because you don't accept less, right? The kind of relationship that we have and kind of the things that we consider to be essential to it, most people would think is like crazy, ridiculous. Like, that you don't ever yell at each other. You don't ever call each other names. It's unacceptable to like, even if you just say you're being an asshole, like that's unacceptable. Yeah, that's unacceptable for us, right? But a lot of that is because that is a standard that you hold, which makes it a norm, which makes it, I'm not saying that I don't have
the baseline.
Yeah, because you hold yourself to it. You hold like you want this for the relate. So because it would be fine in most relationships to be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we fight sometimes, and sometimes we call each other names, but then we make up. We don't really mean it, and we're sorry, but we have a good relationship. Like most people, that's okay. That's cool. It's not a big deal. Like you don't fight a lot. You don't like go like crazy vicious at each other. But that's not even acceptable to us, right? But a lot of that is because you, as the thermometer, as the thermostat, you have a level. You set it, you put it on hold here. Like this is not like we're not gonna be below that level. And me as a man, there's many times where you're challenging me. Sometimes not in the best way. Sometimes in the good way. But it doesn't matter because as a man, I need to take it either way that it comes. That I'm realizing that I'm not living up to my potential. Like I have shortcomings that you're making it obvious.
But I do also try to do it in the right way.
You do. Yeah, you absolutely do. And you're like
because I would never hold you to a standard that I wouldn't hold to myself.
But as a man, I've got like
you are expected higher. Yes, and because you're the leader and you're the man and you actually are the man and you are the leader. Yeah. And so that requires a higher level of responsibility.
Because there's this unspoken thing, and sometimes it is spoken, but of that, no, it's not equal. No, it's not like you're just acting how I like. You have to be better than me.
Yeah,
I expect you to be like there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then it's like, yeah, okay, I get it, I understand. Like, it's like sometimes I have to be like, okay, you're right, actually. Yep, I'm supposed to be better than you. I'm supposed to be. Like I'm supposed to.
No, I admit that I've said that
because that's the ultimate. Yeah, but it ultimate but that's you having the thermostat at knowing where it is and be like, no, this is where it needs to be, right? It's like it's not the same as like in a way it's leading, but it's not leading. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the woman knows where the health. She's responsible for the health of the relationship of indicating when there's a problem. Mm-hmm. The man is responsible for fixing the problems and for leading the relationship, but the woman is she needs to be the alarm, the smoke alarm going off when there's smoke
in the right way though,
right
too,
in the right way.
They do start nagging potentially and things like that too, and then he just goes further down, and then now you have to meet him further down where he is because he's so far down you can't even bring him back up.
Right.
So
yeah, but that's I think that's what I was thinking about when I saw this thing.